Hello, guys. How you doing? Man, I have not seen you in a long time. It's been a while. I was back in Oregon for 2 weeks doing some projects and stuff, so I didn't do any podcasting. But it's good to be back with you and good to see you. Lots of news going on. There's a new pope. The gray smoke came out, and we got a new pope. I don't know a whole lot about him. I don't know if any of you are Catholic watching here, but maybe you'll know whether it's a good deal or a bad deal. I don't know. Real quick, I want to bring up our sponsor. You guys will just hear this. You won't see it on your video. And our sponsor is Miss Dental, Dr. Michael Bratlin. If you're looking for a dentist and you live in Eugene, Springfield, he's the greatest. I just went back, got my teeth cleaned, had a checkup, made sure everything's okay. And except for the fact that I'm 65, yeah, everything seems to be all right. But anyway, if you're looking for somebody who cares about your civil liberties, your civil rights, your ability to have free speech, he is your man. So anyway, if you guys have questions or comments or things you want to talk about, just toss them in there. Put it in the comments page. We got Instagram over here, LinkedIn, Facebook. All the rest of you guys are on this other page. And just let me know, and I will bring you up, and we will get you going. So my trip back to Oregon was interesting. The first thing I saw when I crossed the Idaho border into Washington State was somebody driving a car with a mask on by themselves in a car with a mask on. Now, I know I harp on this a lot, but it's just because there's so much information out there that tells us that is crap, that the masks don't help. And then people come on and say, well, maybe they have allergies. If they don't help for a microscopic virus, do you think they're really going to help with an allergy? And I have a feeling this is more than that. Besides, if most people in their cars, these were nice cars, have air conditioning, I highly doubt that they need a mask on top of that. It's just the craziness. Big news today. Did you guys see where Dr. Casey Means has been nominated by President Trump to be the Surgeon General for the United States of America? This is an amazing choice in my estimation. I've listened to Casey speak many times on podcasts. My wife just finished reading her book. I'm about to start reading her book. She's all about what is being put into our food. She is a doctor. She was a highly respected doctor at Stanford. And so she knows her stuff. And she quit being a doctor because she realized how screwed up the entire system is. So she got out and decided she had to try to correct it. Being the Surgeon General was never on her list, I doubt. She was just out to write a book to get people going. Are you buying Pam B's explanation of Epstein files and dates? I have not seen that. What is she saying? I haven't seen that. So anyway, she's going to be a great choice. And I think her being able, the way she's focused and the way that RFK is focused, I think they'll be a great team to help make America healthy again. Because, I said this in a video today. I don't think nobody out there wants to be unhealthy. I mean, that would be ridiculous. So we want to be healthy. I just think a lot of people don't know how to be healthy. And I think that we have, here in this country, already RFK has banned dyes. We use dyes in our food, in Fruit Loops and all that, if you want to call that food, and that crap that people feed children. But they use dyes in America, and in other countries, they don't allow it. So they're already making the product that doesn't have the dye in it, but it's just not as bright and enticing to the children. So we're enticing children to eat garbage that doesn't give them anything, nothing. In fact, I read a report, and you guys can, I'm no doctor, so, whatever you want to think about that. But cereal is not really something people should probably be eating in the morning. You actually need protein, eggs, bacon, some protein, toast, something like that. But to sit down and eat a bowl of cereal, everything I'm reading is saying that really isn't the best. Bondi is saying that they still are going through all the photos and videos. I don't know if I buy it. What do you think? I'm pretty sure there's more to it. But, at that level, I'm not going to, there are so many other things that are going wrong right now that I think the Epstein files are, just for me, are probably not biggest on my concern list. I realize there's probably a lot of people tied and connected to that. Oh, you guys, you know what I've done? I'm so sorry. I have not even gone over to the comments. Hello, Raven. Uh, Oregon still sucks. Pope is a commie. Okay, so I want to show you something that I found in Oregon while I was there. I was walking downtown Springfield. Hey, Chase, you like to eat meat? Just a good, healthy chunk of meat for breakfast? I think for you, Chase, it's probably breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This sign was posted in, and I can't show it to you guys on Instagram because I don't have that ability to do that with this program. But it was basically telling people how to help avoid ICE. And I thought that was really weird. I posted it and got a huge response from people because people were going, wait, so we're telling people how to break the law? That's interesting. Maybe we should be telling them how to avoid being caught by going home or doing something. I think I have a lot of suggestions for that, but to post pictures, that seems weird. Thrilled that Casey is nominated perfect pairing with RFK. Yeah, Casey Means, and if you haven't had any, if you don't know anything about her book is phenomenal. But you really should go look she's on many podcasts. I mean, a lot. Some of them are going to stretch some of you because you're not fans of the people in the podcast. I think she was on Rogan. She's been on Jordan Peterson. She's been on Tucker Carlson. I think she's also been on Huberman, maybe. She does a circuit, she and her brother, and really looking at the way the medical world looks at what, like not in terms of how we're going to get better. Watch the interview she did with Rogan and her brother. Okay, so it was on Rogan too. Okay, I saw it on Rogan. I've seen 3 of them, but she's really focused on medical care that instead of waiting till we're sick, that it keeps us healthy so we don't get sick. And that's very different than our current medical system. Tom Hunt says, found this in the window of a health food store in Springfield. Haven't been back since. Oh, that sign. This wasn't a health food store, but it was right down on Main Street. Salem's going to open up housing specifically for illegal aliens. I read this today. It's in a bill. And what was that bill? You guys should go check this out. Doc, do you have the bill? There is a bill in the Oregon legislature that the Democrats are pushing through that would, if it passes, give people here who live here illegally better housing, access to housing. And so what are we doing for regular people? Doesn't it actually give them funding for that, Doc? I read this, somebody sent it to me, a legislator sent this to me in the mail, and I was too busy to look it up. But that's kind of the thing I was just listening. If you guys have never checked out our crazy Oregon news and you live in Oregon, even if you live in other places, it's super interesting. Bill just had a story today. Bill London is a radio reporter in Eugene, best reporter in the state of Oregon, as far as my POV anyway. And so we hire him and he does a segment once a week because people were asking me, how do I stay informed? How do I know what's going on in the news? Who do I trust? Well, you can't trust legacy media. So we put this on with Bill and he tells you stuff that you will not hear anywhere, any place. So another little thing that happened to me when I was in Oregon, I was standing outside of a coffee shop that I go to all the time. And this woman was asking people for money for coffee. And so first I didn't give her any, and then the next person didn't give her any, and then somebody did. And then she came back out and asked the next person. So the guy I was sitting with says to the lady, I thought you already got the money for your coffee. And she just goes like this, it wasn't enough. I mean, the weirdest look on her face. And then the store manager comes out in downtown Eugene and says, you need to get out of here. You always are here causing problems. You need to leave. She starts yelling the most nasty stuff. I mean, nasty, horrible. Like my mom would wash my mouth out with soap for saying things like that. And she wouldn't leave her alone. And this lady's a friend of mine. So I just picked up my camera and started rolling video. And I have some here. Hold on. So I start, where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on. I got to go back to comments. Boom. Okay, here we go. So these viewers are going to see it. You're not. She's walking away from me and she is just screaming at me like you couldn't even believe. And then I got a whole bunch of notices from people in Eugene stores that said this woman is a huge problem. So why in the hell is someone like that who's causing that kind of problems in downtown Eugene, why aren't they dealt with? Why are they just left to roam the streets and cause problems? People, businesses are losing business because she's standing outside there doing that. I do not get that. Where's the standard? Where do we stand as a community? Tom, you say, yeah, what have they done for homeless veterans? Same feeling about Bill London. Great way to stay informed. Yeah, I'm totally offended that the Biden administration put illegal immigrants up in 5-star hotels in New York City, and they let veterans and Americans who are truly homeless on the streets. They leave them on the streets to suffer, and they give people from out of the country who are not supposed to be here because they're here illegally, they're giving them a 5-star hotel. Shame on you, New York. That is a terrible thing. And that's what that's what's happening all over the country. I heard superintendents in Eugene and all over Oregon are fighting Trump's immigration policies at the risk of losing millions and millions of dollars. And they're trying to put it back on Trump. And it's like, you could abide by the law. And what are you teaching our kids? It's not compassion. You're teaching them that being illegal behavior is acceptable. And that's not right. Doc says they want chaos. I think they do. And I don't know who they are. I don't think this is the Democrat and the Republican issue. And some of you think that it is. I don't know what to think of this country anymore. Sea Whispers, I think we're going through that. We're just peaking at this thing. You know what I mean? I think, personally, this is not Democrats and Republicans. I know too many great Democrats and who are friends of mine and people. I think their ideology is screwed up, but this is not about Democrats and Republicans. This is purely about good and evil. And Jason, how you doing, man? Greetings from the communist-occupied Eugene, Oregon. That's my friend Jason. Yeah, I think this is a plan, and they're trying to make us hate each other. They're trying to get us to work against each other, and it doesn't have to work. We don't have to agree to work together. We don't. I'm not going to buy into some of the things you believe, and you don't have to buy into some of the things I believe. That's not the point here. It's not the point at all. It's that we have to come together at some point and have some kind of conversations. And I don't think we're ready yet. I don't think we're there yet, because there's too many, the comments I see on my pages, the stuff that people yell back. There's a lot of ignorant people out there who are not paying attention to anything. So they just regurgitate what they see on the news, and it's not true. And if you did a little tiny bit of homework, my question always is, sorry, I've got allergies. Why is it that I feel like a lot of my more liberal people on my pages feel the need to convince me that they are right and I am wrong? Why? I feel no need. I believe I'm right. I'm going to throw out my ideas, my POV all over the internet. And if you agree with it, fine. If you don't, fine. I don't care. I really don't care. And yet I get people on there that are just, you have to believe this. This is the truth. And it's like, the more you scream at me, the more you yell, the more I wonder, are you trying to convince me, or are you trying to convince yourself that you're not a fool? We make better decisions when we don't agree. You see things I might not. Exactly. Jason, that is a great idea. Is when like during COVID, look at the problems we could have solved. David Brummer from Post Falls, Idaho says hi. How do I know David? I was just in Post Falls, Idaho at this great little sandwich shop. You have great hair. Thanks, Lindsay. I have a great barber. I have two great barbers, one in Oregon and one in Montana. The whole idea of asking questions is so that you get to the truth. You find better answers. We don't do that anymore. People ask questions to coerce you or to try to flail you or fillet you and thinking they're going to bring you to their side. And I do agree with my viewer that said to me, I think they're trying to convince themselves. And I really do, because I don't need convincing. I know what I believe. I know what I've seen. And I had some people contact me when I was in Oregon and concerned about what I write. It always makes me, if you don't like it, you don't have to stay here. No one on any of Rick Dancer's pages is handcuffed to the keyboard. No one. So you don't have to play here. If I upset you and you think I'm trying to cause division, which is just horseshit, that's just another term for you trying to shut me down. I'm not buying. I will, Lindsay. Reason, discourse versus argument. Yeah, James, I agree, but I don't even know how to do that anymore. Personally, I don't get into it with them. I mean, I'll make some comments and throw some stuff out there, but I'm not gonna debate you. I don't need to have a big conversation about it. This is what I believe, and you can agree with me or you can disagree with me. It doesn't matter. But I think we're on the right track. I really, really do. I'm excited. Did you see what happened with England and the United States, the biggest trade agreement? And then what happened to the stock market? Yep, mine went up 20%. So if we take, here's the thing that people don't understand. Can I get the key for the handcuffs, Rick? Yeah. Oh, the felon attorney. You're absolutely correct, and I thank you for stepping up and saying it. Now, what was I thinking? I'm kidding. I'm getting old. I don't either. I don't get into useless debates. I don't either, because people don't listen. So I just express my opinion, and then people who agree can agree. Thanks, James. We're finding stuff. Then we'll find places we agree, and we'll find places we don't agree. I think the thing. Thanks, Felon. I think the thing I miss the most is when people didn't call each other names all the time. And I know people blame Trump for that. He makes up silly little names, and I'm not going to stick up for him. But I think some of them are funny. I believe Hillary Clinton is as crooked as can be. And so when he calls her Crooked Hillary, I have to smile. And when he calls Joe Sleepy Joe, I have to smile. I don't think those are like calling the names that people come on and call me, because people go, oh, Trump's always calling names. Not the names you call me. No. They couldn't put it on ABC, CBS, or NBC, the names you call me. So come on. I mean, these are silly caricature names as part of his personality. I'll tell you what you don't understand about Donald Trump, I think. The man is a hell of a businessman. And I know he's been broke, but you know what? Most of the really good business people that I know or have read about have been broke. They take risks. They take chances. He's a negotiator. Trump is a phenomenal negotiator. And I'm sorry. I'm gonna pick on the left a little bit. The left, you are terrible negotiators. I would never want you bargaining for me, unless you're the OEA. Oh, it's paused over here. There. I said I would never want somebody on the left to negotiate with me, because somebody says, get off my page. Hold on. There, we got rid of him. I would never want you to negotiate for me unless you're the Oregon Education Association, because you've literally stripped the state. Oh, somebody's trying to stop me. You see this? This is somebody trying to keep me occupied, because it has a potential spam, which means it's nobody. But Trump is an amazing negotiator. And so everybody, the media doesn't know anything about negotiations. I used to work in the media. I negotiated really good contracts because my dad worked for the Oregon Education Association. So I learned negotiations 101 sitting at the dinner table. Trump is amazing at it. So he throws out things like let's make Canada the 51st state. I don't think he's going to make Canada the 51st state, but what happens? He plays with all of you left people and oh my God, he's just distracting you. And then he goes in and he's getting good deals with people, and they're not always going to work out. That's the thing about negotiations. It's an art. It's something people are either skilled at or they're not. And he is very skilled at it. And look what he's doing. And yes, he's going to make mistakes, but so far things are going a good direction. And I wonder if there's anybody on my left side of viewership out there that wants to comment. Do you think things are going really poorly? And if so, why? Another thing I find with people is a lot of people are complaining from the left side of the political spectrum, but they never they never answer a question. They never give a reason. They just say, Rick, shut your beehole or whatever. And it goes down into that camp where it's like, I can't deal with a junior high school crowd. I mean, either we all act like adults and listen to people. Sorry, that was me trying to get in. Oh, was it really? It won't allow you to do that because it'll shut that one off. If you go on my Facebook page, you can come on and I can see your comments, but I can see your comments on there too. Love you, and tell everyone I know to follow you. Trump says what he thinks and will beat the odds. Yeah, I think that's another thing that scares the deep state and let's face it. Okay, so we live in a country, people hate change. People don't want to do hard things to change. So if something comes up, I mean, and right now we are so bankrupt as a nation that if we don't do major things to change, we're not going to be here. That's a fact. And if you deny that, then I don't know where you're getting your information, but you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. So if we don't make major changes, we're in deep trouble. It's just like with Medicare and Social Security. It's not going away if we continue to follow the way Trump's doing it. At least that's the plan. If we don't do what he's saying and we do what the Dems are saying to do, it's going to go bankrupt. It'll be gone. I won't get my Social Security, and neither will any of you. My Medicare will be gone. It'll out the window. He's trying to save it, and every time he does anything, you guys scream at him. I was never like a big Trump supporter, especially in 2016. I voted for him because I was not going to vote for her. But this time around, I was a supporter. I thought, yeah, I'm gonna, and I was outspoken about it. I told people about it. I don't think outspoken. I just told people. But then all of a sudden, when the craziness starts in, and I start seeing what he's doing, not the craziness from him, but the craziness from the lawfare, from people using the system to try to take him down. You turned us against you, and you have no one to blame but yourself. You should have left him alone. If you would have left him alone, Donald Trump would have never been anything. I'm convinced of that. You made him a hero. You made him a star. You did this to yourself. Your hate actually propelled him into the hearts and minds and souls of the nation. You got him elected because you wouldn't let up. You would not let up on him ever. So we watched you use the system against him, and we know you could do the same thing for us, and we don't have the money to fight it. We saw what you did to blow things out of proportion. Oh, shoot. I got people like crazy here. Stop that. So you blew it out of proportion. I'll go there. Let's go there. You blew January 6th out of proportion. January 6th should have never happened. But if you go in and do your homework and look at the videos and listen to the reports talking about timelines, you see that Trump didn't do any of that you say he did. But at the same time, you're yelling at this crowd for going in, and I think one person died that day, as I recall. And then there were some heart attacks later, but that one person actually died, and she was one of the protesters shot by a cop, I think. So one person died that day. Yes, they damaged our building, and I hate that. I hate vandalism. So people got out of hand and broke that. But where were you when Black Lives Matter was destroying buildings, private property, state property, public property, federal property, spraying police in Portland with lasers, shooting lasers in their eyes, blinding one or two police officers in one of their eyes, purposely shooting a laser at them? How many? I don't know how many people they attributed to deaths from the Black Lives Matter riots. And now look where Black Lives Matters are. There's this rich organization funded by George Soros, and their leader is like corrupt as hell. And so you stood up for that, and you didn't stand, but you stood against something that's, to me, less violent, less destruction. Does it affect me? Sure, it does. I don't like you tearing down my nation's capital, but I also don't like you ruining federal property in the state of Oregon while I live there. I don't like you destroying friends' businesses in Eugene, setting them on fire. So and that's where you blew it. I mean, you really blew it, because that's where the hypocrisy got the best of you. And so what you did was you blew this thing up into a big proportion, and then it's so hypocritical, because more people were injured, more people died, more people's businesses were destroyed. And so those of us here on the outside are going, wait a minute, what is that all about? And you continue to do it. Somebody goes to jail, all those January 6 people that went to jail, I mean, old ladies and people like that. And you got BLM people that Kamala Harris, your candidate for president, was bailing out of jail. That's hypocrisy. And you blew it. You got Donald Trump elected because of your ignorance and because of your blindness. And so when you guys are all mad at people for voting for Donald Trump, you did it. You didn't vote for him, but you pushed everybody else with your hypocrisy right into it. Somebody on here says, impeach Oregon governor for defying federal and that's the other thing, is these governors and these school districts and these people, cities that are sanctuary cities, well, it's all bullshit. It's virtue signaling. It's total virtue signaling. I'll guarantee you, when it comes down to Trump saying to Kotek, the governor of Oregon, your funds are out of here. I'm taking your whatever, $40 million in funds. I don't know what they are. You know what's going to happen? All of a sudden, she's going to have her big girl pants on, and she's going to have to pull back, because she's not going to give up the federal dollars. So right now it's all power play, and it's all virtue signaling and saying how much we care, but you're fighting for people who are here illegally. And that's what I don't get. I know you say, oh, there's some being a majority, and they're not shipping old ladies and children home. For the most part, there might be some that get slipped in there. Most of them they're targeting, if you don't pay attention to the legacy media and instead actually look for the information, most of those people that are going back, you're fighting the Democrats. You guys have made, why do you do this? You've made that gang member from Maryland, like find a little old lady who accidentally got shipped back. That's the person that we might feel sorry for, but a gang member whose wife turned him in for beating her. I mean, this is what you use as a symbol for that Trump is bad, and those of us who support him are stupid. Find somebody that we can relate to, that is not someone who's bringing crime to our country. I mean, you stand up. Look at even with the illegal situation. Lincoln Riley, and no, you guys didn't stand up for her. The little boy, go to the president's speech, the State of the Union address. All those little errors that you made, Americans were watching you and seeing that you hate Donald Trump and I think his voters. I think you hate the ideology of America. I don't think you hate Donald Trump as much as you hate what America stands for. And I don't get it. Because if I hated someplace that much, I wouldn't stay there. I would leave. I didn't hate Oregon. The reason I left is because I hated what was happening to Oregon. Huge difference. Every time I go back there, I feel so sorry for people. I know you don't believe this, and it doesn't matter to me because it's the truth, and you're just not going to listen. But every time I go back, um, every time I have dozens, I'm shocked by the number of people who walk up and say, I wish I could do what you did. I wish I could leave. It's awful here. And this time it was more so than every time it gets worse, where people are like, I've had it. I can't do this anymore. I'm so sick of it. And then I know the response from the liberal faction is, well, okay, then go. Well, see, they know that. They love Oregon just as much, if not more than you do. But you own the conversation. And then you want to have you say to people like me, Rick, you're so divisive. I'm not divisive. I'm pointing out what you're doing. That's why you call it divisive. Everything you guys tend to accuse people like me of doing, you've already done, or you're going to do it, or you are thinking it. And you transpose it onto people like me. Yeah, Linda, it is Linda Addison. Yeah, she says over here, it's so sad watching what our state has become. It really is. And when you come back, you can see, even in Eastern Oregon, you see trash on the road. You don't see that in Montana. You don't see that in Idaho. You cross the border and you see that stuff. And I think part of the problem is, there's people like Linda and others, many others who see it. But I think for a lot of people, when you're blinded to hate, I think you'll put up with a lot and you don't look for it. Now, I will admit, and I gladly, I did see in Eugene fewer homeless camps. Now, the problem, I said that to somebody and they said, yeah, but Rick, the problem is you're here on the weekend after the week. I was there the Monday following the Eugene Marathon. Whenever there's this says a lot about the community to me. Whenever there's a big event where you want to show your best, they clean up the mess. They move the homeless people, they clean up their garbage, but for the rest of the time, they leave it sitting there. So why can't you let it clean? Why can't you clean it up all the time and not make people have to live who are paying taxes in your cities and your counties? Why do you let them? Why do you force them to live in that kind of shithole? But when people come, you put on your best face. Oh, all those athletes coming in, we've got to hide all that stuff. So I came in on the Monday and I didn't see as much. That's what people told me. But I did see that woman scream at me and what she screamed at my friend who's a business owner. And I thought, how could anyone do a business here? Linda has a business there, but we won't mention it to others because you guys will probably attack it. During the method, it was so clean and so vibrant with people walking around downtown. This week, ghost town. Yeah, nobody wants to be out. Here's the thing, too. It's not very supportive of your business community when you allow people to just, and these aren't just homeless people. These are transients who are coming there, who are drug addicted. The homeless people that we think of, they want you to think of as homeless people. They don't do that shit. They're just trying to get by. They need the help. But you know what? In Oregon, they spend so much time just helping everyone that they can't help anyone. And who suffers the most? The veterans. So you're helping all these people who come into your community, bring drugs to your community, and you don't help your own veterans that are suffering and struggling on the streets. I've always kind of wondered too, how can you call it compassion to allow people to sit on the streets of your communities and suffer? How is that compassion? It's not. It just makes you feel better. You're not helping those people. You're just doing little things to make yourself feel better. So I heard that Eugene's budget's so out of whack, $11 million for the city of Eugene's budget. I just heard this on Crazy Oregon News. That and Cahoots, an organization that was out to pick up people who were having trouble like mental issues and stuff. They used to do amazing work. They were like a model for places all over the country. They don't have any money. So where's all the money going? You're not taking care of your people. You're so busy with your woke agenda and trying to make sure that all the trans people and these groups of people that are a small percentage of your population, that Lane County can be a trans and sanctuary city for the illegal aliens, for trans. And I got nothing against trans. Why do they get to be treated better than a veteran? I don't get it. Natalie says, my heart breaks for Oregon, born and raised here all 65 years of my life. So many good people are leaving our once great state. Yeah. Cahoots was featured on Tucker Carlson once. That happened. Its time was limited. Yeah, it's too bad because, instead of spending money on the bullshit, maybe you should really give it to the people. And maybe, ODOT, your Oregon Department of Transportation, screwed up so much its budget that now they're talking about gas taxes to pay the difference. So you guys pay for the fuck up that the ODOT did. At some point, you guys have to stand up. I mean, I know some of you are, and I'm not picking on you. And I know you can say you didn't stand up, you left. I'm 65 years old. I worked in the news business for 30 years, covering all this stuff. I ran for Secretary of State because I think I would have made a great Secretary of State for you guys and treated everyone fair, because I believe that even everybody has a voice, even the Green Party, even the family, whatever party. But I quickly saw this attitude that it's not going to change for a long time. It will eventually, but I don't have that long. I mean, I want to spend my years enjoying myself in a place where I don't. It is so funny. It's really weird. Like coming back to Oregon, every time my wife and we love seeing you and our friends and just people. I mean, people come up and hug me, and I mean, I get so spoiled, and it's like, I see my friends like Dr. Bratlin and Mario, my barber, and David, a friend I used to run with. And then I just saw people that just popped in and said, "Oh, Rick, how you doing?" And it was really super fun. I saw CJ from the water group. But then I see this oppressed bunch of people who are just with scowly faces. And every time my wife and I leave, we just go, God, I'm so ready to go back to Montana. Because, and it's not perfect here, not at all. Not at all. And that little bit of far left, I think it's just naive garbage is slipping its way into this area as well. But still, for the most part, most people just live and let live. And Oregon used to be that. I mean, Oregon, I did a documentary on Senator Mark Hatfield, who was a Republican. And he was talking about how Wayne Morse, who was a Democrat, a Republican, and an independent, but at this point, he was a Democrat. And he was in the Senate. Mark Hatfield was a Republican running against a Democrat in the Senate. Wayne Morse stood up for Hatfield and endorsed him over the Democrat running against Hatfield because they both disagreed with the Vietnam War. That was a big step back then, because back then, 80% of people thought the war was okay and supported it. So you had two senators running for Oregon, one a Democrat, one a Republican, supporting each other when 80% of the people in the state of Oregon did not support their position. But Hatfield said back then, people would give you a pass. You didn't have to agree on everything they looked at over the whole picture. But he said to me, if I was today, I would have never got elected. because Oregon has become this false utopia of bullshit. And it's Montana has some of the cleanest rest stops I've ever seen on I-90. They are, but they're big too, and you get your own little potty room, and I mean it's kind of nice. But I'll tell you, I will stick up for Oregon with this. Oregon has more restrooms. So I mean, in Montana, you got to be tough. You hold it. You know what I mean? They're pretty far and few between. So maybe that's why it's like that. I live a couple blocks away from his old house. Oh, do you really? That's interesting. I believe you left, but haven't stopped fighting for Oregon in your own way. Thank you for what you do. And that's what I do. I can fight for you in Oregon much better in just my mentality and my life from here. And for those people who say, shut up, you moved away, you have no say, you shut up. You cannot tell. That's the thing is so arrogant sometimes about some people on the left is you do not get to tell me what I can and can't do, especially on my own social media pages. You don't have that right. You're in my living room. You live by my rules, and just shut the hell up. You can't manipulate me. I know that's what you're good at. You cannot manipulate me. You can't tell me what to do. If I come into your page, you get to do what you want. In my house, you show some respect, or you're out the door. And you don't understand that because of this, I don't know what it is. It's this arrogance or something where it's like, I can admit some of my opinions are probably wrong. But can you do the same? I love to live in Montana, close to the Wyoming side, the train station. I love Yellowstone. Okay, if you do come here, Mary Lee, do not tell people you love Yellowstone. Tell them you've never seen it before. They do not like that. Yellowstone really did a lot to destroy Montana because it set up this false image and this romanticism, and some of that's out there. I mean, you can find it, but it's not like that. That's how I was raised, to respect others. Don't you get me so tired of being called names simply because you vote for Trump. I don't care anymore. I mean, I really don't. I just don't care. Because, after a while, when people just repeat things over and over again, it just grows numb. It's like they call me a racist. I don't care. Call me a homophobe. I'm not. I don't care. Call me a transphobe. I don't care. I'm not. So your words have no meanings. So what you do is you take the language, you make oatmeal out of everything, and then nothing matters. So I find that very humorous because, the first time you get called it, oh gosh, they called me a racist. Then after a while you realize this is bullshit. I mean, there's nothing to it. Nowhere in this world it's going to be perfect, but there's some more better places. You are much freer outside of Oregon than you are in Oregon. Unless you believe, well, even if you believe the ideology of the day. Looking forward to chatting soon. Bill, that would be awesome. I get called names every day when I walk out of the house with my Trump signs. I just wave. I live in their heads rent free. There's your motto. I live in their heads rent free. I have numerous haters, and I have people that go through my, I love, if you guys, I don't know if you guys pay attention on my website, rickdancer.com, and I post them on Facebook and stuff too. I do a daily blog. I've kind of slipped up a couple days last week, but I try to do a daily blog, just things I'm thinking. I have lots of people that follow that, and I appreciate that a lot because I love to write. But I have this guy, and he comes on. I actually blocked him recently because I was just sick of it. And he would go through and he analyzes everything and where what I said doesn't line up with his thoughts. And he does this whole thing, and then he calls me arrogant. I'm going, you're the narcissist. You're taking what I write, and then you're proving it wrong with what you believe, not factual, just what you believe. And so he comes on, and he's done that a number of times. And finally I just said, Rick, you don't have to put up with that shit. I blocked him. And then I get people on there going, you blocked my friend. You always block people. The most antagonistic people I usually don't block because they actually help build my audience. I'm just using them for their bullshit. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt us. The very old saying. I remember that. My parents always said that. You had so many people loving you from around the world when that Facebook post went viral last year. That's for sure. I don't remember what Facebook uh, one that was, but you know what I can tell you is for the past 4 years, Facebook hurt my business a lot because I'm about promoting people. So the bigger audience, the better. They were restricting my content to, with all my pages, to about 200,000 views a month. Those are views, not necessarily people, but views. When they pulled up and stopped and took Zuckerberg announced he wasn't going to do it anymore, my views shot up to 2.5 million. And now, right now, I sit at about 5.5 million views a month every 28 days because they're not throttling my content. So I sit there and sometimes it makes me mad because I look back at what they did to my business and how much they throttled me. And I'm like, man. And I had I've told this story before, so if you've heard it, just forget it. Um, I I I have clients, and my clients, that's how I get paid, and it's mostly just extra money and stuff, and I love doing it. But a guy who I went to church with and actually helped design my new home um, called up one of my clients and said, "You need to stop working with Rick Dancer because he's spreading misinformation." This guy's also a professor at the University of Oregon. And we were really good friends. I mean, I didn't hang out with him, but he remodeled, helped me drop the plans for my new house, my old house and stuff. And it really hurt because I was like, so you used to say you loved Kathy and me, and you would put everything like that at risk to take, just as far as you don't, he didn't know, but that's my income. And you would risk me losing my income so that you get to be right. And you're really not right. You're actually lying because it wasn't misinformation. But you know what I mean? What kind of, I don't even know what the word is. Evil it takes to do that to somebody that you know. Um, Unbelievable. The guys in my house, I went to their house. And then here's what's funny. Like a year ago on Kathy's birthday, he's still on her page and he wished her a happy birthday. And I thought, do you not think I know? I have very loyal clients. And they told me because they care about me. Now, I did recently lose even more because an article went out in Eugene on some underground rag to boycott me and all of my clients. And that hurt these friends of mine's businesses. So they left, and I understand. I mean, I get that. I don't need, I don't have to have this. This is their businesses. But isn't that sad that people would put out a message like that and try to destroy you that way? See, but here's the thing they don't understand. This is about, go back to what we said earlier. This is about good and evil. Good wins. So you can do whatever the hell you think you want. But I work for the right guy. You don't. And my guy has a plan. And Jeremiah 29:11 says a plan of peace and hope and prosperity, not of your undoing. So that means you can't undo the good plan that God has for me, other people who believe the same things I believe, and our country. Because I'm not going to say that Trump is right 100% of the time. I think he does talk about himself too much in terms of, he got away from it for a while. He's kind of getting back into it where he says, but I'm a stickler for that. It's saying, I did this rather than his administration did that. I think that kind of stuff is really important, that you include people, because none of us does this alone. I couldn't do this without you. And I can't do it without my clients. So I think that's where Trump kind of gets off track a little bit. But overall, I believe that the guy really does care about people. And I see people write the most hateful, nasty things, and I'm like, have you ever listened to him? All I had to do was I I I think one of my favorite Trump moments was when Elon Musk was in the White House early on, and he's talking, and the press is all there shooting it. His little ex kid was in there, and Trump wasn't even paying attention to the media or Elon. He was just sitting there farting around with this little kid, like playing with him. And I said, that's a grandpa right there. And so you can say what you want, but you can't take away who that man is. And how come all of his kids have turned out really good? I mean, they're good people. They're successful people. Can't say that about the Bidens, can you? I have a feeling Trump was more involved in his kid's life than maybe Mr. Biden was in his. But you got to look at stuff like that. Or you don't have to, but I do, because I'm looking for a full package deal here. So anyway, so let's get some positives before we end this thing. We do have a new, hopefully, Surgeon General in Casey Means. America, I really do believe that Americans want to be healthy. We just don't know how. And we have a government and legislators working and lobbyists working against us to poison us with our food. And if we can get some people in there to stop that and move it back, we can get people eating the right kind of things. And all this obesity thing can go away, or at least be reduced a lot. So those are really, really good things. Yeah, Felon, you're right. The left has become a religion. This is not, if you are a Democrat, this is not a battle between you and me. This is a battle between good and evil. And I'm not saying you're evil. I'm saying there is an evilness, an evil conspiracy, an evil, I'd say, my honest opinion. I mean, this is like the devil, working to get people, stir them up, cause chaos. I don't have any chaos. The only chaos in my life is just the same chaos I've had my whole life. My sprinkling system's not working right now. I thought I was going to have to replace my water heater. I lost my hearing aids, $3,000 hearing aids on this last trip. And I know where they were, and I don't know what happened to them, and they're gone. Yesterday was not a great day. I kept going over dollar amounts and what this is and what this is. Today, some of that's been alleviated a little bit. That's the battle between good and evil. When you do good, and when you stand up for what you believe in, and it's true, and you seek the truth with all your heart, there will be a battle. And it's not always fun. And it's usually not easy. But this too shall pass. We're promised that. So I'm going to believe that. But yeah, if you think what's going on the left side of this country is not a religion thing, climate change, all of it, it's a religion. It's and that's fine if that's what they want to worship. I choose to worship our Creator. So that's always going to butt heads. So all these people that go, give peace a chance and all that stuff, I'm not sure peace stands a chance when you have the budding of two major religions. If you aren't currently subscribed to my YouTube page, all my videos and stuff go there, and all these shows and all the stuff Bill London does, the Crazy Oregon News. Just go to Rick Dancer TV and you can subscribe there. If you subscribe, my website is rickdancer.com. You can subscribe on there too. And then when I write a new blog, it'll come right to you. And then I have all the different Facebook pages and Instagram and TikTok. I'm not on TikTok very much anymore, but I'm on there. But yeah, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions and stuff like that. Always take prayers from everybody. I pray for as many people as I can because we're in this for the long haul. And just smile. It's As my mother used to say to me about anything I would get really upset with. I wish I had my mom here yesterday. I needed her. Just she was kind of big, like fat, and I could nuzzle my head up under her neck right in here. And it felt like when I was a little baby, like I was okay. Everything would be fine. So anyway, but she always used to tell. Now I forgot what my mom used to tell me. Um, a lot of things. I'll leave you with some Betty Dancerisms. Okay, these ones always made me laugh. When I would complain about something, my mother would say, "It's better than a turd in a lunch pail." And I'd say, "Mom, what does that mean?" She goes, "If I sent you to school and you opened your lunch pail for lunch and there was a giant turd in there, that would be a really bad day." Her second one that makes everybody kind of cringe a little bit was, "Honey, it's better than a poke in the butt with a cold carrot." I'm going, "Mom, what does that mean?" And she says, "Somebody poking you in the butt with a cold carrot." Some emergency doctors might tell me that people do that for fun, but that was my mom. She was very funny and very to the point and very much for. She might not agree with. In fact, she didn't agree with me on everything, but she always loved me. And I guess that's how we need to treat other people. Is and if they're just tormenting you, are they worth your time? Yeah, life's too short. There are too many people out there right now who want to love you or who could if you would just show them who you really are. People are looking for amazing people like you. And too many of us hide behind what we think are the expectations of others or what they expect of us. And instead of just being real and honest and just telling them who we are and then loving them, you know what I mean? Just tell people good things. I have this friend of mine in Colorado. I don't think he's still on here. And he'll just always tells me good things about myself. And it's kind of fun. He's not kissing my ass. I mean, he doesn't need to do that, but always little things like that. And I guess I need to remember that more to other people that to give them value. They have value. I guess it's not give them. What would that be? Because everybody has value. God doesn't create mistakes. So if every one of us acknowledged the value in other people, maybe that's it. Yeah. If you acknowledge the value in other people, period, and don't have to see it in you, but it'll come back to you at some point. We'll see. Again, couldn't do our show without Dr. Bratlin. If you are looking for a dentist, oh my gosh, I just love this man. He's such a good guy, and he's fun, and their staff just, I still go to him. I go back there every 6, 7. Sometimes I miss it and go 8 months, but I go back there, and he said, "You got 7 teeth that may need crowns one day. Just be ready to get in your car." Drive back to Oregon to get mine done. All right, you guys, share this on your page. That's really helpful. Other people get to see it, and maybe they'll hear something that sparks a good thing in their soul. You never know. All right, have a good weekend. I will keep posting. I'll have something more for you tomorrow. Content. I love to write my daily thoughts. Makes me so happy. Yeah, bring people over. We'll show them what they're worth. Good night. Did that end? It won't end. Here, I can end you guys. Oh, come on, my phone's about to die. End now. Share. You guys are still here? I'm trying to end you.